The crystal walls of the Galactic Council chamber reflected the light of 700 suns. Each beam represented a different alien civilization, and all of them were angry at humanity. Elena Vega stood alone in the center of the vast room. She was Earth's ambassador, and today she faced the most important moment in human history. Her dark hair was pulled back tight, and her blue uniform looked small compared to the massive aliens around her. "The Council recognizes Ambassador Vega of Earth," said a booming voice. It came from Zixtor, the Council leader. He was 12 feet tall with silver scales and 4 arms. His yellow eyes looked down at Elena with no warmth. "Thank you, Council leader," Elena said. Her voice was steady, but her hands shook slightly. "I request permission to speak before the vote." "Permission denied," Zixtor said coldly. "The evidence is clear. Humanity has broken our most sacred laws." A creature that looked like a giant jellyfish floated forward. It spoke through a translation device. "Humans experimented with genetic modification without Council approval. This is forbidden." They colonized 17 systems in the protected zone, added a rock-like being whose body glowed with inner fire. These worlds were meant to develop naturally. Elena tried again. "Please, let me explain. We didn't know about the protected zone. Our star maps were outdated, and our genetic research was only to cure diseases." "Silence," Zixtor commanded. "Humanity joined the Galactic Council only 50 years ago. In that time, you have shown nothing but disrespect for our ancient laws." A ripple of agreement passed through the chamber. Elena saw hostile faces everywhere she looked. The snake-like Hishans coiled tighter. The bird-like avians ruffled their feathers. Even the usually friendly Seatians turned their dolphin-like faces away. "We call for the vote," said Zixtor. "All in favor of expelling humanity from the Galactic Council and banishing them to the outer void." The chamber filled with light as each species voted. Green beams shot up from every delegation. Elena watched in horror as the count climbed. 100, 300, 500. Every single member voted against humanity. "The vote is unanimous," Zixtor announced. "Humanity is hereby expelled from galactic civilization. You have 72 hours to remove all humans from Council space. After that, any human found in our territory will be arrested." Elena's communicator buzzed. She saw messages flooding in from human colonies across the galaxy. Panic was spreading as the news reached Earth and its settlements. "This is wrong," Elena said, her voice growing stronger. "We've contributed so much to the Council. Our medical knowledge saved the Thrakeri from extinction. Our engineers helped build the new hyperspace network. Your contributions are noted," Zixtor said dismissively. "But they do not excuse your crimes. The outer void awaits you. Perhaps in exile, your species will learn humility." The Council chamber began to empty. Aliens filed past Elena without looking at her. She stood alone in the center of the room, the weight of humanity's fate on her shoulders. Meanwhile, aboard the exploration ship Horizon, Captain Jake Morgan received the emergency broadcast. He was a tall man with graying hair and kind eyes. His crew gathered around the command screen as the message played. "This can't be happening," said his first officer, Amy Rodriguez. "My family just opened a restaurant on Kepler Station. We have a life here." Jake put a hand on her shoulder. "We'll face this together. Start calculating jump coordinates for Earth. We need to coordinate the evacuation." Across human space, the exodus began. Families packed their belongings. Businesses closed their doors. Scientists abandoned decades of research. 40 billion humans began the largest migration in history. Ships of every size headed for the designated jump points. The lucky ones had their own vessels. Others crowded onto transport ships, carrying only what they could hold. Children cried as they left the only homes they'd ever known. Elena's shuttle left the Council world as the deadline approached. She looked back at the shining cities and green fields of Centauri Prime, knowing humanity might never see such beauty again. The outer void waited, dark and unknown, ready to swallow the dreams of an entire species. But in that darkness, something else waited too. Something the Council didn't know about. Something that would change everything. 3 months had passed since humanity left Council space. The refugee fleet floated at the edge of the outer void, a dark region that even the oldest aliens feared. 12,000 ships carried 40 billion humans, all looking for a new home. Admiral Lisa Chen stood on the bridge of the Unity, the fleet's command ship. She was small but strong, with short black hair and sharp brown eyes. Through the windows, she could see hundreds of ships waiting for her orders. "All ships report ready for void entry," said her communications officer. Lisa nodded. "This is it. Tell the fleet to maintain formation. We go in together." The outer void looked like a wall of pure darkness. No stars shined there. No planets circled. The Council's maps simply marked it as unmapped hazard zone. They said ships that entered never returned. Captain Jake Morgan commanded one of the scout ships. His vessel, Horizon, would enter the void first. "All systems normal," he reported. "Beginning entry now." Jake's ship pushed forward into the darkness. His crew held their breath as blackness surrounded them. Then something strange happened. Their sensors, which should have shown nothing, began picking up signals. "Captain, I'm reading energy signatures," said Ben Carter, the chief explorer. "There's something out there." "What kind of something?" Jake asked. "Unknown, sir, but it's big, really big." Behind them, the refugee fleet followed into the void. Children pressed their faces against windows, watching the strange darkness. Parents held them close, whispering that everything would be fine. On the Unity, Lisa received Jake's report, energy signatures. The Council said this place was empty. "Maybe they never looked hard enough," said her science officer, Dr. Sam Johnson. "Or maybe they didn't want to find what's here." As the fleet moved deeper, more strange readings appeared. Amy Rodriguez, now chief engineer on the Unity, studied her screens with growing excitement. "Admiral, these energy patterns match nothing in our database," she said. "But they're definitely artificial. Someone built something here." "Built what?" Lisa asked. Before Amy could answer, Jake's voice came through the comm system. "Admiral, you need to see this. We found structures." The fleet gathered around Jake's discovery. Floating in the void were enormous ruins, metal and crystal twisted together in patterns that hurt to look at. Some pieces were bigger than cities. They drifted slowly, ancient and silent. "How old are these?" Lisa asked. Sam ran his scanners over the nearest structure. "At least 1,000,000 years, maybe more. This technology is beyond anything the Council has." Belina Vega, now serving as fleet coordinator, joined the discussion. "Why didn't the Council know about this?" "Maybe they did," Jake suggested darkly. "Maybe that's why they sent us here." A young scientist named Maria Garcia made the next discovery. "Admiral, I'm detecting a stable structure ahead. It looks intact." The object was a sphere the size of a small moon. Unlike the drifting ruins, it maintained position and showed signs of active power. Lights pulsed along its surface in complex patterns. "I want a team to investigate," Lisa decided. "Jake, take the Horizon in for a closer look." Jake's ship approached carefully. As they drew near, the sphere reacted. Doors opened that hadn't moved in eons. Lights spilled out, welcoming them. "It's an invitation," Ben said quietly. Jake made the choice that would change humanity's future. "We're going in." The Horizon entered the ancient structure. Inside, they found wonders beyond imagination. Walls displayed star maps of the entire galaxy. Machines hummed with power sources unknown to human science. And in the center, a vast library waited. Amy was part of the exploration team. She approached one of the data terminals. When she touched it, information flowed into her mind. Not words or pictures, but pure knowledge. "This place," she gasped, "it's a repository. The beings who built this, they called themselves the architects. They left this for someone to find." For us? Jake asked. Amy's eyes were wide with wonder. For anyone worthy. And we're here. In the days that followed, humanity began to understand their discovery. The architects had been the galaxy's first advanced civilization. They had built wonders, explored the universe, and then vanished. But they left their knowledge behind, hidden where only the brave or desperate would find it. The refugee fleet had found more than shelter in the void. They had found the keys to a new future, and perhaps the reason why the Council had really feared this place. Professor Maria Garcia led her team through the ancient halls of the sphere. As an archaeologist, she had dreamed of finding lost civilizations. Now she walked inside one. Look at these walls, she said, running her hand over strange symbols. The architects wrote in mathematics. Every symbol is an equation. Her assistant, Paul Kim, scanned the writings. Professor, these equations describe the universe itself. They show how space and time work together. Meanwhile, the human fleet had found a rogue planet drifting in the void. It was frozen and dark, but it could be a home. They named it Haven. Dr. Sam Johnson stood on Haven's icy surface with his terraforming team. The architect technology can help us here, he said. Their energy systems could warm this world. How long would it take? Asked Lisa Chen, who had come down to inspect the planet. With their technology, weeks instead of decades, Sam replied. They knew how to control matter at the quantum level. Back in the sphere, Captain Jake Morgan discovered something that changed everything. In the central chamber, holographic beings appeared. They were tall and graceful, with bodies made of light. Welcome, inheritors, the lead hologram said. Its voice sounded like music. We have waited long for you. Jake stepped forward carefully. You're the architects. We were. Now we are only memories, left to guide those who come after. The hologram studied Jake with glowing eyes. Your species carries our legacy. What do you mean? Jake asked. Scan your genetic code. You will find the proof. Amy Rodriguez, who had joined Jake's team, ran the scans. Her hand shook as she read the results. Captain, this is impossible. Human DNA has markers that match architect technology. They're dormant, but they're there. The hologram nodded. Long ago, we seeded many worlds with our genetic gifts. Most species never activated them. But humans, you are different. You adapt. You grow. You create. Elena Vega had also come to witness this meeting. Why did you disappear? She asked. We did not disappear, the hologram explained. We evolved beyond physical form. But first, we left guides for younger races. The Council found some of our gifts and used them to build their civilization. But they stopped growing. They became afraid of change. And they expelled us because we were changing too fast, Elena realized. They fear what you might become, the hologram confirmed. But we do not. Use our gifts wisely. The Architect Repository began sharing its knowledge freely. Humans learned to build factories that assembled objects from pure energy. They discovered how to fold space for instant travel. They found medical technology that could cure any disease. On Haven, the transformation began. Sam's team used architect devices to create an artificial sun in the planet's orbit. Within days, the ice began to melt. Within weeks, they planted the first seeds in alien soil. Engineer Amy Rodriguez worked day and night to understand architect ship designs. Their engines don't push against space, she explained to her team. They convince space to move around them. It's like sailing, but with the fabric of reality as your ocean. Young colonists started showing strange abilities. A teenager named David Park found he could interface directly with architect computers just by thinking. A girl named Sophie Lee discovered she could see energy fields with her naked eyes. The dormant genes are activating, Dr. Sam reported to Admiral Chen. Our children are becoming something new. Lisa watched the first rainfall on Haven through her office window. The planet was turning green at an impossible rate. Cities rose from the ground, built by construction machines that seemed to think for themselves. "We're not just surviving," she said to Alina. "We're becoming something the galaxy has never seen." In the sphere's final chamber, Jake found the architect's last message. It was a star map showing hidden catches throughout the galaxy, each containing more knowledge and technology. They prepared for this, Jake told his crew. They knew someone would need these gifts someday. As news spread through the fleet, hope replaced fear. Humanity wasn't lost in the void. They had found their true inheritance. The refugees became pioneers, the exiles became explorers, and a new chapter of human history began. The architects were gone, but their dream lived on in human hands. And that dream would reshape the galaxy itself. 5 years passed like a dream. The outer void was no longer dark and empty. Hundreds of human colonies spread across previously dead worlds, each one blooming with life. Alina Vega stood before the United Human Confederation's first parliament. The people had elected her as their president, trusting her to lead them in their new home. "My friends," she began, "we have built something amazing here. Our cities rise in days. Our children learn faster than ever before. We have become more than we were." In the audience, Admiral Lisa Chen smiled. Her Sentinel fleet now protected 300 inhabited systems. Ships built with architect technology could jump anywhere instantly and hide from any sensor. Captain Tom Mitchell had a different job. He commanded a special cargo ship that traveled to the edges of Council space. His mission was secret, known only to a few leaders. Tom's first stop was Therian II, a mining world controlled by the Saurians. These lizard-like people worked endless hours for little food. The Council kept them poor, claiming their species was economically inferior. "Power down all weapons," Tom told his crew. "We're here to help, not fight." The Saurian workers scattered when Tom's ship landed, but he walked out unarmed, carrying only a small device. "I bring a gift," Tom announced. "This is a food replicator. It can make any meal from basic elements. No one needs to go hungry." The Saurian overseer, a tired-looking male named Sisk, stepped forward. "Why would humans help us?" "The Council banished you." "Because no one should suffer," Tom replied. "Take it, use it, share it with your people." Within weeks, Tom had delivered replicators to dozens of struggling worlds. Each device could build copies of itself, spreading the technology faster than the Council could stop it. On Haven, Dr. Sam Johnson made a breakthrough. The architect medical systems could do more than cure disease. They could enhance the human body itself. "It's voluntary," Sam explained to a gathering of colonists. "But those who choose enhancement will be stronger, faster, and live longer. Your children already have active architect genes. This would give the same advantages to adults." The first volunteer was Amy Rodriguez. She lay in the medical pod as blue light played over her body. When she emerged, her eyes sparkled with new awareness. "I can feel the machines around me," she said in wonder. "Not just see them work, but understand them like they're part of me." Jake Morgan visited the outer colonies regularly. On New Sydney, he found children playing with toys that floated without wires or engines. On Nova Montana, teenagers raced through the air wearing gravity belts they had built themselves. "They're not learning our technology," Jake reported to Alina. "They're improving it. Each generation understands more than the last." Meanwhile, the secret trade network grew. The Kelvin, famous for their engineering skills, received human blueprint databases. Within months, they had built their own improved versions of human tools. The Morvek, brilliant scientists held back by Council restrictions, gained access to human research networks. They began solving problems that had puzzled them for centuries. Commander Lisa Chen knew the Council would eventually discover these activities. She prepared the Sentinel fleet for that day. The ships trained constantly, but not for destruction. They practiced precision, learning to disable enemy vessels without killing anyone. "We're not conquerors," Lisa told her captains. "We're protectors. When the Council comes, we'll show them a better way." On the border worlds, something unexpected happened. Species began working together without Council approval. Humans shared medicine, aliens shared art, and cultures mixed in ways the Council had forbidden. A young human trader named Claire Park became famous for her mixed crews. Her ship carried humans, Thrakeri, Kelvin, and even a few Cetians who had left Council space. The Council says we're all different, Claire liked to say. But we all want the same things: peace, prosperity, freedom. President Elena Vega received reports of these changes with satisfaction. Humanity wasn't building an empire through force. They were creating one through generosity. The Council thought isolation would weaken us, she told her advisors. Instead, it freed us to become what we were meant to be. In the depths of space, more architect caches activated as humans found them. Each one contained new wonders, new possibilities. The quiet revolution continued, spreading from world to world, mind to mind. Change was coming to the galaxy, and it wore a human face. Ambassador Nina Foster traveled to the edge of Council space with a small diplomatic team. Her mission was official this time: to meet with the Thrakeri, an insect-like species facing extinction. The Thrakeri homeworld was dying. A plague spread through their cities, killing millions. Their compound eyes had lost their shine, and their beautiful wing patterns faded to gray. "Welcome, human ambassador," clicked Queen Zekta, the Thrakeri leader. Her voice was weak, her movements slow. "Though I fear you come too late to help us." Nina bowed respectfully. "Your Majesty, we've studied your plague. Our medical team believes we can help." "The Council sent their best doctors," the Queen replied. "They said our species was too weak. They called it natural selection." Dr. Sam Johnson stepped forward. He had joined this mission personally. "The Council was wrong. This isn't natural at all. It's a synthetic virus." The Queen's antennae twitched in surprise. Synthetic? But who would create such a thing? Sam began his work immediately. The human medical team set up their equipment in the Thrakeri's main hospital. Within hours, they had isolated the virus and begun developing a cure. 3 days later, the first Thrakeri patients received the treatment. Their color returned, their wings straightened, and their eyes brightened. The cure worked perfectly. Queen Zekta herself took the treatment. As strength returned to her body, she summoned Nina for a private meeting. "The Council knew," the Queen said quietly. "They knew this was an artificial plague. But they did nothing." "Why?" Nina asked, though she suspected the answer. "Because we questioned them. We asked why some species lived in poverty while others grew rich. We suggested changes to their system." The Queen's wings buzzed angrily. "This plague was our punishment." News of humanity's cure spread across the galaxy faster than light. On the Kelvin homeworld, Master Engineer Vrix spoke before his parliament. "The humans saved the Thrakeri when the Council let them die," Vrix declared. "They share technology freely. They ask nothing in return. Perhaps we have been following the wrong leaders." The Morvek scientists published papers using human research methods. Their discoveries revolutionized energy production, making Council technology look primitive. On border worlds, more species requested human aid. The aquatic Cetians needed help cleaning their poisoned oceans. The crystalline Judans sought assistance with their crumbling cities. Each time, human teams arrived with solutions. Claire Park's mixed trading crew became a symbol of the new way. They visited 100 worlds, bringing not just goods but ideas. Species that had never spoken began to communicate. Old enemies started to understand each other. "Look at us," Claire told her crew one evening. Humans, Thrakeri, Kelvin, and Morvek, all working together. The Council said this was impossible. Her Kelvin engineer, Zix, nodded. The Council lied about many things. Back in the outer void, President Elena Vega received disturbing intelligence. The Council was mobilizing their fleet. Spy drones had detected weapon buildups near the border. "They're preparing for war," Admiral Lisa Chen reported. "But something strange is happening. Some Council members are refusing orders." Jake Morgan commanded a reconnaissance mission to investigate. He found Council space in chaos. On dozens of worlds, populations demanded change. They wanted human medicine, human technology, human freedom. Council leader Zixtor called an emergency session. The humans spread sedition, he announced. They turn our members against us. This is an act of war. But many council members disagreed. Ambassador Kree of the Avians stood up. The humans showed us mercy when we showed them none. They heal where we abandon. Perhaps we are the ones who need to change. The council chamber erupted in argument. Some supported Zixtor's call for war. Others demanded reform. A few suggested inviting humanity back. Meanwhile, the Thrakeri made their choice. Queen Zekta sent a formal message to all council worlds. The Thrakeri withdraw from the Galactic Council. We pledge friendship to humanity and all who seek a better way. Let those who value life over control join us. The first crack in the Council's unity had appeared. Within days, 3 more species followed the Thrakeri's example. The Morvac, Kelvin, and Setians declared independence. The galaxy stood at a crossroads. The old order was failing, but the new had yet to fully emerge. And in the middle stood humanity, offering a choice between fear and hope. Dr. Sam Johnson stood before a group of human volunteers in Haven's largest medical center. The room hummed with architect technology, casting blue light on eager faces. Today, we activate your dormant architect genes, Sam announced. You will become the first of the evolved. Are you ready? The volunteers nodded. They were scientists, soldiers, and explorers who had chosen to take this step. Among them stood Captain Jake Morgan, ready to lead by example. The process took 3 hours. Each volunteer lay in a medical pod, while genetic scanners rewrote their DNA. When Jake emerged, his eyes glowed briefly with inner light before returning to normal. How do you feel? Sam asked. Jake flexed his hands, staring at them in wonder. Different. I can sense electromagnetic fields. I understand how the machines around me work, just by looking at them. Within days, the evolved showed remarkable abilities. They could interface with any technology through touch. Their minds processed information faster than any computer. Some could even manipulate energy fields with their thoughts. Jake led a team of evolved to the architect homeworld at the galaxy's core. The journey that once took months now lasted minutes. Their enhanced minds guided ships through hyperspace, shortcuts no normal human could navigate. The architect homeworld was a wonder beyond description. Crystalline towers reached into space. Energy flowed like rivers between buildings. At the planet's heart, a massive library contained the truth about everything. Captain, said Maria Garcia, now evolved herself. This database, it shows the Council's real history. Jake joined her at the terminal. The data revealed that the Council had found architect technology thousands of years ago. But instead of sharing it, they used it to control other species. They've been suppressing advancement, Jake realized, keeping everyone dependent on them. Meanwhile, in the Denibian system, disaster struck. 3 inhabited planets orbited a star that suddenly became unstable. Solar flares destroyed satellites. Radiation storms killed crops. 3 billion peaceful beings faced death. The Council's response was swift and cold. Evacuation is impossible, declared Zixtor. The Denibians lacked sufficient value to justify the resource expenditure. On Haven, President Elena Vega made a different choice. Prepare the Sentinel fleet, she ordered. We're going to save those people. Admiral Lisa Chen led 50 ships equipped with architect technology. They arrived at Denibian space just as the star began to collapse. Council forces were already there, not to help, but to prevent anyone else from trying. This is forbidden, transmitted the Council fleet commander. Return to your exile or face destruction. Lisa's reply was calm. We're here to save lives. Stand aside. The evolved crew members reached out with their enhanced abilities. They connected to the dying star itself, understanding its quantum structure. Working together, They began to stabilize the stellar core. It was impossible. It defied every law of physics the Council knew. But the humans did it anyway. The star's collapse slowed, then stopped. Its light steadied. The Denivians were saved. Across the galaxy, beings watched this miracle through news feeds. The humans hadn't just saved a species. They had controlled a star. The Council's claims of human danger suddenly looked very different. They said we were reckless, Alina broadcast to all worlds. But we just proved that with great power comes the choice to help others. The Denibian Chancellor spoke next. The Council abandoned us. Humanity saved us. From this day, Denibian space is closed to the Council. We stand with Earth. More species joined the growing alliance. The plant-like Florans, the energy beings called luminals, even the ancient voidlings who had lived in dark space for millennia. Each brought unique abilities and knowledge. On Haven, children born to evolved parents showed even greater abilities. They could heal with a touch, speak to machines like old friends, and see solutions to problems that had puzzled scientists for centuries. The paradigm was shifting. The old order based on control and limitation was giving way to something new. A galaxy where every species could reach its full potential. Zixtor watched his empire crumble through the Council's monitors. More members defected each day. Those who remained grew fearful of their own populations. "Prepare all warships," he commanded. "If we cannot control the galaxy through law, we will control it through force." The final confrontation was coming. The largest fleet in galactic history gathered near Haven. 10,000 Council warships formed a wall of metal and weapons. Their guns could destroy planets. Their shields could withstand supernovas. Council leader Zixtor commanded from his flagship, the Dominator. "Today we end the human threat," he announced. "They have corrupted our members with false promises. They have stolen our rightful authority." Across space, Admiral Lisa Chen watched the approaching fleet. Her Sentinel fleet had only 300 ships. By normal standards, they faced certain defeat. "All ships, remember our training," Lisa broadcast. "We protect. We don't destroy. Show them a better way." The battle began at dawn. Council ships fired weapons that could vaporize mountains. Beams of energy turned space itself into a weapon. Missiles carried enough antimatter to erase entire fleets. Then something strange happened. The human ships disappeared. Not destroyed. Not retreating. They simply stopped existing in normal space. The Council weapons passed through empty air. "Where are they?" Zixtor demanded. His answer came as human ships reappeared inside the Council formation. But they didn't attack. Instead, they touched the enemy vessels gently, like a parent calming a frightened child. Captain Jake Morgan, now fully evolved, stood on the bridge of the horizon. His mind connected to the Council flagship systems. With a thought, he shut down their weapons. "Don't be afraid," Jake transmitted directly into the minds of the Council crew. "We're not here to hurt you." Across the battlefield, the same scene repeated. Human ships phased in and out of reality, disabling weapons, shutting down engines, leaving Council vessels helpless but unharmed. Amy Rodriguez commanded a squadron of evolved pilots. Their ships moved like living things, dancing between enemy fire. When Council fighters attacked, Amy's team surrounded them with energy fields that drained their power without damaging the pilots. "This is impossible," gasped a Council admiral. "Our shields, our weapons, they're useless." Within an hour, the mighty Council fleet floated powerless. 10,000 warships designed for destruction had been neutralized without a single death. President Elena Vega's image appeared on every screen in the galaxy. She stood in Haven's capital, surrounded by representatives from dozens of species. "To all beings of the galaxy," she began. "Today we prove that strength doesn't require violence. The Council ruled through fear. We offer partnership through trust." Behind her stood Thrakari, Kelvin, Morvac, and others who had joined humanity. Their presence sent a clear message. The galaxy had already chosen. On the Dominator, Zixtor watched his empire end. His crew had stopped following orders. They watched Alina's broadcast with hope in their eyes. "Council leader," said his second-in-command quietly, "perhaps it's time to listen." Jake Morgan teleported directly onto the Dominator's bridge, not through technology, but through abilities the Evolved had developed. Space itself bent to their will. "Zixtor," Jake said gently, "your time of control is over, but you can still have a place in what comes next." "You've destroyed everything," Zixtor replied bitterly. "No," Jake shook his head. "We've freed it to grow." Around them, the bridge crew began removing their council insignia. Similar scenes played out across the fleet. Soldiers became citizens. Oppressors became equals. The battle's aftermath surprised everyone. Instead of demanding surrender, humanity invited the council forces to land on Haven. Evolved healers tended to any injured. Cooks prepared meals for former enemies. "This isn't how wars end," muttered a council captain. Claire Park, still commanding her mixed crew, overheard him. "This wasn't a war," she explained. "It was an intervention. We're all family here." The council's remaining loyalists retreated to the galactic core. They controlled only a handful of worlds now, clinging to old ways. But even there, populations demanded change. News of the bloodless victory spread everywhere. Species that had feared to oppose the council now found courage. Revolution came not through violence, but through hope. Admiral Lisa Chen met with the defeated fleet commanders. "Your ships are yours to keep," she told them. "Use them to protect, not control. Help us build something better." Many accepted. They had seen humanity's mercy and wanted to be part of the new future. The age of fear was ending. The age of growth had begun. The Galactic Council was gone. In its place, something new was born. Species from across the galaxy gathered on New Earth, a world humanity had transformed into paradise. President Alina Vega stood before the first Galactic Federation Assembly. Representatives from 900 species filled the Great Hall. No one sat higher than others. All voices were equal. "Friends," Alina began, "we build this federation on simple principles. Share knowledge freely. Help those in need. Let every species reach for the stars." The Thrakeri Queen Zekta spoke next. "Humanity showed us mercy when others showed only judgment. They will lead us into tomorrow." But Alina shook her head. "We won't lead alone. The Federation belongs to all of us." Captain Jake Morgan commanded the first intergalactic expedition. Using the most advanced architect technology, his ship could breach the walls between galaxies. The journey that should take millions of years would last only days. "Crew of the Unity," Jake announced, "we go where no one has gone before. Not as conquerors, but as explorers and friends." His crew included beings from 50 species. Amy Rodriguez served as chief engineer, her evolved abilities letting her merge with the ship's systems. Young David Park, now 20 and fully evolved, could navigate by sensing the cosmic web itself. They launched from New Earth as billions watched. The ship disappeared in a flash of light that painted new colors in the sky. When they emerged, they found themselves between galaxies, in the true void. But the void wasn't empty. Other galaxies sparkled in the distance, each one holding countless worlds and species. Jake's crew detected signals, music, mathematics, and messages in unknown languages. "The universe is full of life," Jake reported back, "and they're waiting to meet us." On Haven, now a center of learning, Dr. Sam Johnson watched new generations of children play. These youngsters, born of evolved parents, had abilities beyond imagination. They healed sick animals with a touch. They grew gardens by singing to seeds. They solved puzzles that had stumped scientists for centuries. One child, a girl named Maya, created sculptures from pure light. Another, a boy called Alex, taught computers to dream. They were human, but also more than human. "They're our future," Sam told Elena during a visit. "Not just humanity's future, but the galaxy's." The old council worlds changed too. On Centauri Prime, where humanity had been condemned, markets now sold human art alongside alien crafts. Schools taught architect science next to traditional subjects. Former council enforcers worked as teachers and healers. Even Zixtor found peace. The former council leader lived quietly on a garden world, tending flowers that bloomed in impossible colors. When asked about the past, he would only say, "I was afraid of change. Now I embrace it." Commander Lisa Chen led the Federation Defense Force. These ships protected trade routes and helped colonies in danger. When pirates threatened peaceful worlds, Lisa's forces disabled their ships and offered the crews honest work instead. 10 years after humanity's expulsion, Alina addressed the Federation again. Her hair showed gray now, but her eyes still held the same determination. "We were cast out," she said. "We were called dangerous and unstable. But our exile became our liberation. In the darkness, we found light." Behind her, a vast window showed New Earth's night sky. But these stars were different. Some were actually cities on distant worlds. Others were ships carrying life to dead planets. Each point of light represented hope. A child was born that day on a small colony world. Her mother was human, her father Kelvin. She opened her eyes and saw colors that had no names. She would grow up in a galaxy without borders, without limits. In schools across the Federation, children learned a new version of history, how humanity was cast out, but returned with gifts. How fear gave way to friendship. How the galaxy was reborn. The stars belonged to everyone now, and in their light, impossible dreams became tomorrow's reality. From exile to empire, from outcasts to teachers, from fear to hope, humanity's greatest adventure had only just begun.